Hello and welcome to everybody out in Oldish land. It's a beautiful day today, so I thought I'd do this video sitting outside instead of sitting in my office or in a studio somewhere. You can hear the odd time the birds are singing, and you see the gardens behind me. The trees are leafing out, and you can hear the odd dog barking I can hear off in the distance. So I hope your day is just as lovely. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about an article that we posted on theoldish.com this morning, and it was shared on our various social media platforms as well. And the article had to do with delirium being diagnosed in seniors. Now, this was done in Ontario hospitals. It was a bit of a survey that was done in Ontario hospitals. And the suggestion that was made in the article is that delirium is being diagnosed, or misdiagnosed more appropriately, as dementia. But when it is properly diagnosed as delirium, it is something that tends to be short-term, may not be short-term. So I wanted to sort of expand on this issue a little bit, because as with every issue, this particular one is very multifaceted. Let's just cut to the chase on hospitals, really. They are not a great place for seniors to be. They're a great place if you're sick, if you've got to go there because you've had a stroke or a heart attack or you've fallen or whatever the issue was that took you there. They are the best and the only place to be. But to go on for a long-term basis, even short-term, 4 or 5 day stays for a senior, particularly a senior who is challenged with dementia to begin with, a hospital is not a great place. I mean, let's just start with visitors coming in, and they don't sanitize their hands at those wash stations that are just inside every hospital door. So, you know, hospitals are full of bacteria, and it's not because they're not cleaned. It's not because the cleaning staff isn't doing their job. It's because people are bringing it in, and sick people are in there as well, and they're maybe not washing their hands as often as they should. It's very difficult to keep track of all of the bacteria and to police people washing their hands and sanitizing properly as they come in to visit. But apart from that, a senior who is in a hospital for any length of time can become terribly confused. I mean, think about it. Here's a senior who perhaps lives in their own home and may live in long-term care as well, but routine is something that is very close to their hearts. It makes them feel safe and it makes them feel secure. They know what they're doing moment to moment. They're in an environment where they know everybody. They know the geography of the place, how to get to dinner, how to get to their friend's room or down to the social activities, down for tea in the afternoon, whatever the issue is. But then you take them and you put them in a hospital. So this is a place that they don't know. Even if they've been there before, somebody with dementia may not remember this particular hospital. The layout is different. They're in a strange bed. They're in a room perhaps with 1, 2, 3 or more other people who are sick. The disturbances of people walking in and out at all hours of the day and night, meals that they're not used to. Depending on what they're in there for, their drugs may be messed with a bit to find a new balance, or perhaps a new drug has been added to their regimen based on whatever it was that they came into the hospital for. Cognitively, they're not being stimulated. There's nobody to do that. Their socialization is not being seen to. If they are somebody who needs regular movement, regular walking programs, this isn't happening either. So, you know, hospitals, bless their hearts, not a great place to be for anybody who needs that kind of well-rounded attention. And let's face it, don't we all? Let me tell you the other side of this story a little bit. I sit on the Board of Governors of our local hospital in the town that I live in. It's a small hospital, but the budget issues are the same regardless of where the hospital is in this country or how large it is. Hospitals are under the gun financially. They are running as lean as they possibly can because the increases that they are getting to their budget on an annual basis from their funder, which is the provincial government, might be 1%, and that's not even guaranteed. We've been given our 1% increase every year for the past few years at our hospital, as have other hospitals in Ontario, but it's not guaranteed that it's going to continue. So our funder, just so that you're aware, is the LHIN, the Local Health Integrated Network, which is charged by the Ontario government with dispersing these funds to Ontario hospitals and long-term care facilities. So, 1%, let's get back to 1%. In an era where costs are on the rise, and they're not costs we control. As consumers, we don't control any costs, but the cost of employees is going up. So the employees are unionized, and the union contracts are in place, and these costs of wage increases might be going up depending on your hospital and the contract that's negotiated. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6%. I don't know. It's not 1%, I'll tell you that. The cost of food is going up, the cost of hydro is going up, the cost of gas and the cost of drugs, they're all on the increase. And I dare say that most of them are more than the 1% increase that we're being given. So hospital budgets also don't cover capital costs. So when you see a new piece of equipment or a new bed or the x-ray machine needs to be replaced, these are not costs that are covered by our provincial funder. So understand that piece, that there just simply aren't people to do the extra work. The population that is aging, we all know, is going to continue increasing over the years ahead. So more and more elderly people coming into hospital with whatever ails them, more and more elderly people who are in need of all of this extra care and simply no money to provide it. So when you're only getting a 1% increase and employee costs are raising at greater than that, you can see that the idea of hiring an extra employee to provide cognitive or social stimulation to aging patients or to initiate and keep up walking programs, not going to happen. Not going to happen. So it's kind of a no-fault thing in terms of the hospitals. Now, keep this in mind the next time there's an election, the next time there's a provincial or federal election, or if you're in the States, the next time there is a state election. Keep all of this stuff in mind. You may be the next person who is impacted because within the election window of whoever is elected next, you may be becoming one of those seniors who is impacted by this. All of this, though, is stuff that we can't control. So it brings to light the need, as we have spoken about before here on the Oldish, and whenever I'm asked to speak somewhere, advocacy is one of the topics that is very popular. Every person who goes into hospital needs an advocate. That can be a family member, it can be a very close friend, it can be anybody, but it needs to be somebody who is willing to be there a lot to advocate for the hospitalized individual. It can be somebody who is looking after their medications and making sure that if a medication is added, that it fits in appropriately with the medications that they're already getting. It can be somebody who is able to maybe get them out of bed and walk them. Now you need to check, of course, with the doctor and the nurse about this, because maybe ambulation is not something that fits in with their current care plan. Not that there's not someone to do it, but that literally they shouldn't be walking. And if that's the case, there may be exercises in bed that they can do to keep their muscles strong. People who can come in and just talk with them, stimulate them from a social perspective, from a cognitive perspective, read to them, talk to them about events that are going on within the family, within the neighborhood, within the world, keep their minds active, because it doesn't take much for a mind to start to, or a body for that matter, to start to atrophy little by little by little when all of that activity goes away, goes right away. Now the average stay in acute care is 4 to 5 days. But it's amazing the degradation that can happen in 4 to 5 days in a hospital. The nurses don't want it to be that way. Trust me, they really don't want it to be that way. They don't have time to make it any other way. Your senior may not understand that these sorts of things are happening to them. So it really is important, you know, until we can get a better system in place. And honestly, I don't know what that will be. The healthcare system, like so many other systems, truly is built for a world that doesn't really exist anymore. But I can't fix it, and you can't fix it on our own. What we can do is be there for our loved ones and to advocate for them, to make sure that they have the care that they need, that somebody is in there fighting for them, reminding people, asking the questions that need to be asked, getting the answers that need to be had in order for this person who is in the hospital to be released successfully back to their long-term care facility or back into the community. All too often, people go into hospital with one thing, and by the time they're released, they can't go back home because they have degenerated so much that they can't care for themselves, or they can't live in the long-term care section of the facility that they live in. They need too much care, and they need to transfer to the nursing side, which is a whole other set of costs, and maybe there isn't a bed available, and the issues just become compounded. So really, the best thing you can do for a senior who is in the hospital, if you have the time, if you have the energy, if you have the will, is to be there for them and be there with them and make sure that they are active and engaged in every possible way to keep them healthy, with the idea that when they are released back home, wherever home is, that they will be as close as possible to wherever they were when they first entered the hospital. So there you go. I will post the link to the article about delirium down below, and you can give that a read, leave your comments. We're always interested in your experiences as well, how you solved problems, how you dealt with whatever the issue was with your senior. There are already comments starting to form on our Facebook page where the article was posted. So people are sharing their experiences, and we invite you to share yours. You never know what you might say that might help another person. So have a great afternoon. Enjoy this lovely weather. I hope it's lovely where you are, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.